Thank you very much.
So with gold still under pressure, fourth day in a row, is now finally the time to get in on the shiny metal.
We've got a really exciting segment here. We got four people, 49ers, all with their own perspective. Phil Flynn is sticking around for us. We also have a man who always has a gold coin on hand, our own Eric Bowling. There's the gold, the Krugerrand. And Cody Willard. Now, he's the bear. He's in the house. Doesn't believe gold's going to stop its downturn. Andrew Schiff, investment consultant at Euro Pacific Capital, and he is also a gold bull. So, gentlemen, start your engines. Eric, first to you, and then we get to point, counterpoint. Why is this downward movement about to end?
Well, it may not end right here, but who cares? It's where we top out at $1,227 or $28 an ounce. We're now sitting $11.22. Phil tells you that's about 8% off the top. That's okay. That's not a bad thing. You don't want to see a market just continually go up. That would be a bubble. I'm in the camp that says this isn't a bubble. Okay, so China, People's Bank says maybe this is a bubble. They're wrong. The Central Bank of China buys gold. They'll continue to buy gold. They may slow down their purchases. They're going to come back and buy again. Look, it's a market that's been very, very overheated, taking a breather. It can go to $1,000 an ounce, but that's a buying opportunity. By the way, I'm on the 12th floor over there. Anyone who wants to sell your gold, come on, I'm there. I'm taking all comers. I have checks. I will buy it.
Did you just buy that piece of gold right there?
This is actually
I got some gold coins at home.
You should get your own commercial and put it on air.
Andrew Schiff, let's bring you in here. Your company, Euro Pacific, has big investments in not just gold, but gold mining, metal mining. Take your stand here.
Well, we used to talk about 1,000 being the ceiling for gold. Now we're talking about it as the floor. So people say maybe it goes back to 1,000, and that would be fine. We thought there'd be a correction. There was a very a steep ascent, and of course, as I mentioned last week, the biggest moves in any movement is always a counter trend rally. So you have a wall of worry. People aren't convinced. They see it shoot up, and then when it comes back, when it turns around, people get scared. I've gotten plenty of calls from clients that are very scared, and we tell them is that we think this is a long-term trend. We're back to the position where India announced about a month ago or 3 weeks ago that they're buying gold. That's when gold was about 11.20.
All right, well,
and
he has been sucking it all in, building his case against these guys. He thinks gold's going down to 600. Why?
I mean, let's start with the contrarian aspect. I'll start off by simply saying, asking you guys, when was the last time you had an out-and-out bear on gold on the show? I'm sure it's been
very
months.
rare. Very rare.
So everybody I know, hedge funds, traders, mutual funds, my mom, Eric Bowling, it's long been gold. But many new people have been getting into the trade here above 1,000. They think it's going to go to 2,000. I remember back.
But that's perception. What about the reality?
Okay, so let's
what's
talk a
going to
little bit
drive
about the
gold down
reality.
to 600?
For one of the reasons that everyone's so bullish on gold is the money supply supposedly exploding because of the government printing so much and borrowing so much. That is certainly happening, but that money's not trickling into the economy. That we don't see the banks lending it. We don't see the M3 money supply growth, which is all inclusive for the economy, actually growing the way that we would expect it to when the government's doing the things that it's doing with this monetary policy.
Yeah, but listen, they're printing. The problem is no one has had jobs. No one's spending. When spending starts, things like gold are going to go up. Oil's going to go up. Corn, wheat, rice. I've been saying this for a while. Watch, we had a rice problem 2 years ago. We're going to have another rice problem. These are all things people buy with cash, with dollars. The dollar's going to weaken. The dollar's going to continue to weaken next year and the year after based on monetary and fiscal policy. Gold is going up.
Phil Flynn, you called it a car wreck, Phil, just because it has 4 days of pullbacks. Is that fair?
Well, no, it's not fair, but it's just the mood of the market. To be honest with you, if you ever look at Eric's coin, by the way, if you flip it, it comes up buy on both sides. I saw the coin. Look at it closely. The other thing I want to say is, hey, listen, the reason why the money's not in the economy because the banks have been buying gold. They've been putting it in the carry trade. Maybe not gold directly, but other commodities.
So, Phil, wouldn't that be a contrarian indicator too? The banks weren't buying gold at 300. The gold support. Miners themselves were hedging their gold at 300. They cover their hedges at 1,000.
They don't have to cover. They don't cover it. They buy gold and put it in reserve. They take it out of the system.
There you go.
We had the same
When the
M3
biggest
conversation about
buyers
6
in the
months ago,
world
but
of-
still the fact of the matter is that nobody has much confidence in any currency. I mean, I think this Greek crisis
Why the
throws
dollar's going up several days in a row? That's
several days in a row. I mean, the long-term
Is that wrong?
several hours in a row. I mean, no one's got confidence in the dollar.
These guys are friends, by the way.
No one's got confidence in the. I mean, the euro is coming under scrutiny. This Greek crisis will force, I think, a little bit of a euro rethink. But the Chinese are continuing to peg, so they're going to continue to debase their currency.
So, Mr. Schiff, I mean, is it truly just a technical macroeconomic play? You are betting on gold because you hate all fiat currencies over the next 5 years. Is
By
that
the
the
way,
simple
fiat
play?
currencies
word,
are
if you-
currencies attached to the gold standard.
If you want a yes or no answer, I'll give you one.
Not attached to the gold
Yes,
standard.
yes. We don't have faith in fiat currencies. We see the whole world as a depreciating currency environment.
And Cody, you don't have faith in them either.
No, I do not, but that doesn't mean that gold itself will appreciate. I think
How
there's
can't
a difference
it?
between appreciation and inflation.
Cody, play
Assets
central
like gold
banker
are
in
going to
India or central banker in China. Now you have all these current dollars. What are you going to do? Are you going to hold U.S. dollars and see if it doesn't fall off the table? Are you going to go buy U.S. treasuries and, with $12 trillion in debt? You're the first one who would say that's going to be problematic.
Yeah,
going forward.
interest rates
what are you
will
going
go
to do with
higher.
your money?
Look, we hear all the time about all this money that supposedly has been on the sidelines when the market was at 14,000, 13,000, 12,000, and eventually we went to 6,000 in the stock market. I think you're going to have the same sort of thing. Everyone expects that all this money on the sidelines from the central banks will
Cody,
come into gold.
$600, that's chopping what we see today nearly in half.
I know. Do you remember when I came on, oil was at 120, 110, and I would say it's going to 30, and everybody thought I was on crack.
Andrew, what about Cody's point that the banks have been sitting on all this cash? Yes, the Fed has been printing money like crazy, but it's not being spread. It's not being circulated, and that's why we don't have any inflation right now.
I read a very interesting story in the Journal today about the kind of funky things going on in the corporate credit markets, about covenant-light loans and about payment in kind payments.
Don't get too caught in the weeds here.
It just shows you that there is so much liquidity floshing around the markets that corporate debt issuers can play fast and loose with their investors, and that people will do anything for a little bit of yield. And that is the same kind of signs we saw before this crash happened, that there's too much liquidity.
But Eric, you say buying opportunity. We pulled back enough.
Well, and I hope we do, and I feel bad for anyone who's in a gold investment, but I hope we pull back to the point where we can buy again, and you don't have to
Which would
feel
be
like
what?
you're buying
At what point?
$1,950. These are all good buy. By the way, Andrew, India bought 200 tons of gold, 6.4 million ounces, at $1,050 an ounce the first time up in the middle of October. They're up $500
By the way, does anybody have any
right
idea
now
what the
on that.
IMF is doing with all this cash? They've been selling gold. Now they've got a pile of cash, a pile of fiat currency. What are they doing
silver.
with it? I mean, nobody knows.
No, I mean, it's got to be somehow going into the treasuries.
I think Phil just said, I'll tell you. Go ahead, Phil.
Go ahead, Phil.
Well, I'll tell you what. The most bullish sign I've seen in gold market this week is when China and India basically said that it was too high. When you get the two biggest buyers, recent buyers in the world, say the price is too high, they want it to come down so they can buy more. So that's the way I look at it.
I got to say one thing. People seem to forget. We're only 40 years into this global experiment of currency that has no value. I mean, economists like to talk like this is the way it's always been. It hasn't. It's a new experiment, and now we're kind of into the 8th or 9th inning where the whole world tries to inflate and print its way out of a problem. And money has to have value. Money's always had value. New economists like to say that money is better without value.
Eric, 5 seconds, go.
I would be owning anything that if you dropped on your foot, you could actually feel it hit. Drop a dollar on your foot, you don't feel it. Drop an ounce of gold, you'll feel it.
Wait for the 10% pullback. We're about 8% right now. After it gets to 10%, you short all rallies down to 600.
Cody Willard, Andrew Schiff, Eric Bowling, Phil Flynn. What a terrific discussion. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Give me back my Kruger.
That was mine.
Yeah,
You're not leaving here with her Kruger hand.
Exactly.
Eric, I'll be off. I'm going to sell you some gold.
Bowling walking off with this thing. He loves gold so much.
Let me feel it
The
again.
Senate may be one big step.